Darren, if you want to take this one, why is digital assessment necessary, and why should we consider it?
So digital assessment is it's become kind of the requirement, I think. In the past, a lot of assessment has taken place on paper. So what would happen is your supervisor or your manager or your learning development practitioner would go out with a piece of paper or an assessment guide or an observation checklist, tick book, and they'd fill out a piece of paper, they'd tick, 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 and watch the person work, and then they'd go drop that paper off somewhere. They'll drop it off in someone's admin office, on someone's desk, and that person will then have to capture the results into an Excel document or onto SAP or into one of these big programs, and then no one knows where to find the results. So you left with a very interesting scenario where potentially the assessments were getting done. People liked the idea of it, but because it was paper-based, the person who captured it wrong. The person who was being assessed had no access to see what the results were, and that's where it all started falling apart. And it's the same with in other spaces. So I want to know if this person is the right person for the job. So there's a once-off assessment that takes place because they can't really review any previous demonstration of skill. And so what happens is you don't really know what's going on as the learner, as the assessor. You're just doing a job, and so it's a cyclical or cycle review. It needs to go digital because we now have the tools. It's the same as Uber or Airbnb. They're only able to be what they are because of the internet and the tools that are available. So assessment needs to go digital. It needs to go to a place where there's immediate feedback provided to the assessor and the person being assessed on what's going on. It gives the assessor the opportunity to see a combination of results over a long period of time, in that if I'm just assessing one person, I can see how well I'm doing with that person. If I'm assessing a team of people, I can also see a combined rating on the team and get a feel for how well my assessment is doing. But on top of that, my team or the person can also see how they are doing over a period of time. And we start getting to an increased productivity because when I get assessed, I get to see my gap real time. So what am I not doing right now, as opposed to I'll see you in 6 months at a performance review, and what did I not do right 6 months ago? So for me, this is the real need, that assessment needs to go digital. And with this whole lockdown scenario, I'd like to talk a little bit about that, because the lockdown has now put people into a position where we're going, before lockdown, no, people are doing their jobs are right, it's all good. Now we're in lockdown, people are going, well, are you really doing a job, and are you doing all of your job, and is all of your job still necessary? So as soon as the system can moves online well with the foundation, you will start reviewing job roles. So you're actually going to impact a far bigger business, and help take companies into the digital, the digital future.
I think what I like about it as well is, for the person being assessed, it actually clarifies as well, what is the criteria, where we're moving towards, what is being assessed. And I think at the moment, it's relevant. I mean, people are sitting at home, and I think the employer needs to find a way of, you've just said, find a way of assessing whether the work's being done at a certain level or in a certain direction. But the employee is also forced to think about, oh wait, how do I actually fit into this organization? Am I contributing the way I should, and making the needed adjustments? Mark, do you want to add anything to this?
Yeah, I think what Darren touched on was this continual assessment, and it's something that starts as soon as I say I'm ready to do something. That's like your mean line, your average line. Like, I can do this. I know I can do it up for the challenge of whatever I'm finding myself in. But it's keeping those records for something. We know that training records need to be kept for a long period of time. And the data that's coming out of those assessments is probably the most critical part. The first question we should ask ourselves is, are we asking the right questions? Because questions can be very misleading. And in our society, as general, we do already have issues with language. I've seen it in my experience where people are asked questions that are too technical, or we ask people for outcomes that are too technical. And obviously, depending on what kind of field you're in, it's important to know that the levels of our society are there, and it's not to play anyone down or to push or punch someone in the side. It's more to say, like, I've got this skill, I need to be tested on it, but I also need to be tested on the same average that I'm going to be fulfilling my job in, you know. So I think definitely the biggest key is to keep that data and use the data specifically for an outcome.